Good morning everyone and welcome to the class. We are doing the chapter The End of Bipolarity in Contemporary World Politics, and under this chapter we have discussed the disintegration of USSR, the events, then the causes, and now we are discussing the consequences of this disintegration. In the previous class, we have discussed that the most important consequence of this disintegration of USSR was the end of Cold War. The Cold War was was a war between two ideologies. The two ideologies which were not only different but also opposite to each other. The ideology of capitalism and liberal democracy, and the second ideology was the ideology of communism and socialism, and this USSR was representing the ideology of communism and socialism. And with the disintegration of USSR, it became clear that it was the winning situation for the capitalism and liberal democratic ideology, which was represented by US. And this end of the Second World proved that the ideology of US was superior, and thus the Cold War ended, because one of the superpowers was not there. So Cold War also ended with this end of USSR. And then we have started our discussion regarding the second consequence, and that was the world was bipolar till 1991. There were two poles, US and USSR. But now, after this disintegration, this bipolarity was ended. There were no more two poles were there. Okay, and now it was at that time in the year 1991 when the disintegration took place. It was not clear what will be the future of world politics. So there were two possibilities. The first possibility was that the world may change from bipolar to unipolar. कि जिस तरह से जो चीज़ें हो रही हैं, या तो वर्ल्ड जो है वो बाईपोलर से यूनिपोलर में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा, बिकॉज USSR was not there, but US was still there, and it was as powerful as it used to be. सो US की पावर तो उतनी ही थी, वो इंटैक्ट था, उसके पावर में कोई कमी नहीं आई थी. तो देयर वॉज पॉसिबिलिटी कि ये जो बाईपोलर वर्ल्ड है वो यूनिपोलर वर्ल्ड में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा. बट एट द सेम टाइम देयर वॉज ऑल्सो पॉसिबिलिटी that the world will turn to multipolarity, means there will not be one pole of power or two pole, but it will be multipolar world in which there will be so many powerful countries, and among which the power is divided. So power and influence both are divided. So these were the two possibilities which were there at that time. And what we find, because it is almost we can say 30 years from the disintegration of the USSR, and in this period what we experienced, the world turned from bipolar to unipolar. So the other most important consequence of this disintegration of USSR is the rise of unipolar world. And in this unipolar world, there is only one pole, and that is US. Okay, and this is the dominance of US. This is the period of hegemony of US. Okay, and as I told you, now your third chapter has been the whole chapter is not deleted, but a major portion is deleted, and one of the part of that chapter has been added to this chapter, the end of bipolarity, that is your second chapter. So now we will discuss about this unipolar world, about this hegemony of US under this chapter only, because now the third chapter, that is the hegemony of US, is not existing in your revised syllabus. So we will discuss this hegemony of US under the end of bipolarity, and this is one of the consequences of the disintegration of USSR. Okay, so now what we find that the US did not start behaving like a hegemonic power right from 1991. The disintegration of USSR took place in the year 1991, but the hegemony of US was not started to be shown by the country US from that year only, because what we find that it took so many years when it became clear that the world was in fact living in a period of hegemony. So it was not कि बस disintegration होता है और hegemony of US start हो जाती है. इसमें एक टाइम लगा, स्पैन ऑफ टाइम लगा, तब जाके धीरे धीरे बातें समझ में आई कि जो वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर है, दैट वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर हैज़ चेंज्ड फ्रॉम बाइपोलर टू यूनिपोलर. इसमें काफ़ी समय लगा. ओके, एंड हाउ दिस US hegemony was established. What were the main events through which we can say that the world became aware of this hegemony of US? In this regard, the most important event was the attack by Iraq on Kuwait in August 1990. It happened in August 1990 when Iraq invaded Kuwait. When Iraq invaded Kuwait and it tried to annex it, it wanted to have its control over Kuwait. But this was unjustified act of Iraq, and many efforts were done from the side of UN so that it could be convinced to quit its ऑक्यूपेशन ऑफ कुवैत को जो वो ऑक्यूपाई कर रहा था, एनेक्स करना चाह रहा था, उसके अगेंस्ट में उसको काफ़ी नेगोशिएशंस हुए. यूएन की तरफ से बहुत एफर्ट हुए इराक को इस बात के लिए कन्विंस करने का कि वो कुवैत को छोड़ दे. बट इराक वॉज नॉट रेडी टू बी कन्विंस्ड. It was not ready to quit its aggression. It was not ready to quit Kuwait. So when diplomatic attempts failed, then what happens? जब हम डिप्लोमेटिक लेवल पे एफर्ट करते हैं, यूएन डिप्लोमेटिक लेवल पे एफर्ट कर रहा है कि इराक को किसी भी तरह से कन्विंस करके हटाया जाए, बट इराक वॉज नॉट रेडी. So in that situation, what happened that the UN took the decision, and this decision was to liberate Kuwait by force. When diplomacy failed, तो अब force से हम कुवैत को liberate करेंगे. And at that time, this America, in America, the president was H.W. Bush, and H.W. Bush at that time he announced the emergence of a new world order. A new world order. It was announced by H.W. Bush, and this new world order was the world order in which there was dominance of US, the world order in which there was hegemony of US. So a coalition force was there. The coalition force was of the UN. It was the force of UN in which so many countries participated, and in this troops there was 6,60,000 troops were there in this coalition force, and these 6,60,000 troops belonged to 34 countries. These 34 countries were together with the UN, and they formed this coalition force in order to fight against Iraq. So this fight, in which there was Iraq on the one side and on the other side 34 countries with UN, ये इन दोनों के बीच की जो लड़ाई थी, जो कि जिसको कि हम फर्स्ट गल्फ वॉर के नाम से जानते हैं. वी नो दिस वॉर एज फर्स्ट Gulf War. So you have to remember 34 countries were there in the coalition force, and 6,60,000 troops were there. And what we find that in this fight, the leadership was given by America only, because it was American general who led the UN coalition. And not only this, 75% of the coalition force they belong to US. जो 6,60,000 ट्रूप्स थी कोलिशन फोर्स की, उसमें से 75% जो ट्रूप्स थे वो यूएस को बिलोंग करते थे. ओके, सो दीज आर इम्पॉर्टेंट. द फर्स्ट गल्फ वॉर, दिस in this first Gulf War, the operation which was done by UN is known as Operation Desert Storm. So these are the important terminology. A new world order which was announced by Bush, the US president, when there was decision to make Kuwait free of Iraq by the use of force, and Iraq invaded Kuwait in August 1990, and then the coalition force which was there to fight against Iraq, this fight was known as First Gulf War. And the UN operation which was done to liberate Kuwait from the Iraqi occupation, this operation was known as Operation Desert Storm. Okay, Operation Desert Storm. And what we find that in this war, uh, Iraqi forces were defeated by the coalition force, and at that time the president of Iraq was Saddam Hussein, and Saddam Hussein called this Gulf War as the mother of all battles, because it was considered that it was the war was very much important for Iraq, and it was the war of Saddam Hussein. So he declared it as the mother of all battles, and we see that in this war, because so many countries, 34 countries were there together against Iraq. 6,60,000 troops were there. So the Iraqi forces were quickly defeated, and after this defeat they were forced to withdraw from Kuwait. Okay, so in this Gulf War there was the Iraq was defeated and the coalition forces won the battle. And the most important thing about this Gulf War is that this Gulf War revealed to the world the vast technological gap which was existing between the US and other countries. बिकॉज इस वॉर में जो चीज़ें सामने आती हैं वो उनसे ये प्रूफ हो जाता है कि जो यूएस के जो मिलिट्री कैपेबिलिटीज़ कि जो जितना वो यूएस की जो मिलिट्री कैपेबिलिटीज़ हैं वो जितनी टेक्नोलॉजिकली एडवांस हो चुकी हैं उसकी बराबरी का कोई भी कंट्री नहीं एग्जिस्ट कर रहा था उस समय, इवन टुडे. So this war proved that US is far ahead of any other country in terms of its military capabilities and its technological advancement. Because in this war what happened that the smart bombs were used by US, and because of these use of smart bombs this war was also known as computer war. And not only this, the war was shown live on TV. टेलीविज़न पे लोग लाइव देख रहे थे वॉर को. People were able to see the war, see the battle from their drawing room. They were watching the war in the TV. That is why it was also called video game war. जैसे वीडियो गेम हम अपने घर में सोफ़ा पे बैठ के खेलते हैं और उसमें भी जो वीडियो गेम्स होते हैं, बैटल्स होते हैं, कई सारे उसमें सिंबॉलिक ऐसा दिखता है कि कई लोग मारे जा रहे हैं. तो इन द सिमिलर वे पीपल वर एबल टू वॉच द वॉर फ्रॉम द कंफर्ट ऑफ देयर ड्राइंग रूम, देयर लिविंग रूम. So this was the war which proved that US is very powerful, not only militarily but also technologically. And after this war there was election time in US. In the year 1992 elections were held. Though Bush was a winner in the war against Iraq, still there were some reasons and the current President Bush was defeated in the election, and Bill Clinton became the new president of US. And the policy of Bill Clinton was very different. He was focused on the domestic policies only. And he uh, he held the post of president of US for 2 terms, that is for 8 years, from 1992 to 2000. He was the president of US. And what we find that during this 8 years period, US was very much focused on its internal affairs, and it was not फुल्ली इंगेज्ड इन वर्ल्ड पॉलिटिक्स. वर्ल्ड पॉलिटिक्स से बहुत कुछ अपने आप को इसने अलूफ कर लिया था ड्यूरिंग दिस पीरियड. एंड अगर वो वर्ल्ड पॉलिटिक्स में जिन चीज़ों पर उसका ध्यान था, अगर फोकस था भी, तो दोज वर वेरी सॉफ्ट इश्यूज. जो हार्ड पॉलिटिक्स होती है, जैसे कि मिलिट्री पावर है, सिक्योरिटी है, इन सब चीज़ों से उसने अपने आप को दूर किया था. और जो सॉफ्ट इश्यूज होते हैं, जैसे कि डेमोक्रेसी का प्रमोशन करना, क्लाइमेट चेंज की बातें, वर्ल्ड ट्रेड, जो कि सॉफ्टर इश्यूज होते हैं, जिनसे कि कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के चांसेस कम होते हैं, उन पर उन्होंने ज़्यादा फोकस किया क्लिंटन ने. Still, we find कि during the Clinton period also there was some important events took place which proved the supremacy of the US. तो पहला जो इंसिडेंट जिसमें कि हमें यूएस की सुप्रीमेसी दिखाई दे रही है पूरी दुनिया में, अगर यूएस को हम कह रहे हैं कि इट वाज इन अ डोमिनेंट पोजीशन, तो जो फर्स्ट इवेंट था, that was this first Gulf War. And now we are going to discuss the second event which proved that the US was powerful. And this was about the military action done by US in Yugoslavia. What happened that in 1999 the गवर्नमेंट ऑफ स्लोबोदान मिलोसेविक की गवर्नमेंट ने यूगोस्लाविया में क्या स्टार्ट किया कि यूगोस्लाविया का एक प्रोविंस था कोसोवो, एंड इन दैट प्रोविंस देयर वाज मेजॉरिटी ऑफ वन पर्टिकुलर कम्युनिटी, एंड दैट वाज Albanian population was in majority in Kosovo region. Otherwise the Albanian community was in minority in the whole of Yugoslavia. So the government of Slobodan Milosevic, he used violence, he used force against this Albanian population which was there in the Kosovo province. So when this was done by the Yugoslavian government, at that time the NATO countries, the NATO which we have discussed in the Cold War era, which was Western Alliance, तो ये जो NATO था उसकी तरफ से एयर स्ट्राइक्स स्टार्ट होते हैं अगेंस्ट यूगोस्लावियाज गवर्नमेंट, दैट वाज द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ स्लोबोदान मिलोसेविक. उसके अगेंस्ट नाटो के एयर स्ट्राइक्स स्टार्ट होते हैं. एंड नाटो की जो ये एक्शन हो रहा है, मिलिट्री एक्शन जो ले रही है नाटो, दैट मिलिट्री एक्शन वाज टेकन इन द लीडरशिप ऑफ यूएस के लीडरशिप में ये सब कुछ हुआ. एंड बॉम्बार्डिंग हुई काफ़ी, जो यूगोस्लाविया के जो टारगेट्स थे उन पर बॉम्बार्डिंग हुई. ये 2 महीने तक इस तरह का जो माहौल था वो चला, बॉम्बार्डिंग होती रही. एंड लास्टली व्हाट हैपेंड, हाउ इट ऑल स्टॉप्ड बाय विद द डाउनफॉल ऑफ द स्लोबोदान मिलोसेविक. उसको फोर्स किया गया स्लोबोदान मिलोसेविक को कि उनको अपनी पोस्ट को छोड़ना पड़ा. एंड देन व्हाट हैपेंड कि जो नाटो की जो फोर्स थी वो कोसोवो में स्टेशन कर गई, वहीं रुक गई, और तब जाकर के फिर वहाँ पर पीस आया. तो इस तरह से ये जो यूगोस्लाविया के कोसोवो रीजन पे जो बॉम्बार्डिंग हो रही है नाटो की तरफ से, उसका जो लीडरशिप हुआ दैट वाज यूएस. तो ये एक सेकेंड इंसिडेंट है विच प्रूव्ड which was proving the dominance of US in world politics. So after this Operation Desert Storm, there was bombarding and air strike by NATO forces under the leadership of bombarding and air strike by NATO forces under the leadership of US under the leadership of US against Yugoslavia. Okay, this is the second incident which took place in the year 1999. Okay, so it was a long gap जो कुवैत पर जो अटैक हुआ इराक का, देन इराक के साथ जो कुछ भी हुआ दैट वाज इन द ईयर 1990-91 और उसके बाद आफ्टर द गैप ऑफ दिस 9 years it happened in Yugoslavia कि अमेरिका is again showing its strength. And during the Clinton year, one more important event took place, and that event is the bombing of the US embassies in Kenya and Tanzania in the year 1998. केन्या और तंजानिया में जो US के एम्बेसी थी वहाँ पर bomb blast होते हैं, and this these bombings were it seemed that these bombings were done by Al-Qaeda, which is a terrorist organization, and it is influenced by extremist Islamist ideas. Okay, so what we see that within few days of this bombing, Bill Clinton ordered an operation, and the name of that operation was Operation Infinite Reach. It was an operation to nab the culprits who bombed the US embassy in Kenya and Tanzania. तो ऑपरेशन इन्फिनाइट रीच, अगर वो इन्फिनाइट में भी होंगे जिन्होंने बॉम्बिंग की है अलकायदा के जो टेररिस्ट हैं, तो वहाँ भी उनको पकड़ लिया जाएगा, इसका ये मतलब था. एंड इट हैपेंड कि अ सीरीज ऑफ क्रूज मिसाइल अटैक्स वाज डन बाय यूएस अंडर दिस ऑपरेशन, एंड दीज अटैक्स, these strikes were done on the Al-Qaeda terrorist targets which were in Sudan and Afghanistan. So Sudan और अफगानिस्तान में जो Al-Qaeda के जो terrorist targets थे वहाँ पर क्रूज मिसाइल से strikes होते हैं, अटैक होते हैं by US. And in this regard we see there are some international law. Any country has to follow the rules of the international law. We cannot start bombarding in any other country. That is against the rule of international law, against the provisions of international law. But the US was not concerned about following these provisions or rules of international law, because these Al-Qaeda terrorists were suspected to be behind the bombarding of the US embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. So they were the terrorist targets of these Al-Qaeda, which was in Sudan and Afghanistan, they were targeted by America. वहाँ पे क्रूज मिसाइल से अटैक हुआ. तो ये क्या है? दिस इज़ द हेजेमनी, दिस इज़ द डोमिनेंस, कि हम इतना हमारे पास पावर है कि अगर आपने हमारी एम्बेसी पे अटैक किया, बॉम्बार्डिंग की, तो हम उसका बदला आपके कहीं भी जा कर के हम उसका बदला ले सकते, चाहे आप वर्ल्ड के किसी भी कोने में छुपे हों. दैट इज ऑपरेशन इन्फिनाइट रीच. सो दिस प्रूव्स द हेजेमनी. किस तरह से अमेरिका जो है, इट वॉज मूविंग टूवर्ड्स establishing its hegemony over world politics. So we will continue our discussion in the next class.